In a small, vibrant town, there lived a young woman named Angelina. The sun rose every morning, casting its golden light on the colorful houses and bustling streets. People greeted each other, and laughter filled the air. Angelina loved her town. Yet within her heart she felt a heavy weight. She had a job that many admired, and her friends often called her confident and smart. Angelina looked successful, but inside, she struggled with anxiety and sadness. Angelina's day began with her phone in hand. As she woke up, the bright screen lit up her face. She quickly checked her social media. She saw happy faces, selfies, and food pictures. Everyone seemed to be living perfect lives. Angelina felt a twinge of worry. She didn't want to miss out on anything. With each scroll, the pressure grew heavier. She needed to feel liked and accepted. This need pushed her to share her own pictures, showing a perfect life that she did not have. After getting out of bed, Angelina followed a routine that felt like clockwork. She made breakfast, took a shower, and chose her clothes carefully. Every outfit had to be just right, it needed to look good online. She practiced smiles in the mirror before walking out of her house. To others, she looked put together, but deep inside, she felt lost. She often worried if people would like her posts, and if they thought she was interesting. At work, Angelina focused on her tasks. She helped customers with bright eyes, trying to show her best self. Her coworkers praised her work often, yet every compliment stung her heart. She thought, "Do they really like me, or just my work?" After the workday, Angelina spent hours online, waiting for likes and comments, searching for approval from people she barely knew. With each beep of her phone, her heart raced. Yet, instead of joy, she often felt emptiness. Evenings at home were quiet, and her online presence grew more tired. Angelina would sit alone on her couch, scrolling through her feed. The phone buzzed with notifications, but the happiness they promised never came. Instead, she felt drained and small. Each time she tried to impress others, her spirit dimmed a little more. She knew this wasn't how she wanted to live, but change felt impossible. Each day, the need for validation through the screen creeped into her life, each moment heavier than the last. Angelina felt angry at herself, for not being enough, for not rid of the anxiety that followed her. Friends loved her, but they did not know her struggle. They could not see her real fears and worries. She wanted to break free from this cycle but didn't know how. The world outside seemed joyful, yet deep within, she felt like she was in a cage built from the very likes and opinions she sought. Such was the life of Angelina, a girl who seemed to have it all but was silently grappling with her own fears and doubts. Each day was a battle, not just with stress and anxiety but also with the loud voice that said, "You are not enough." Yet, deep inside, a small part of her whispered that perhaps, just perhaps, there was hope for a way to be free. Angelina's life moved slowly and painfully, like a train stuck on the tracks. For weeks, she felt the weight of the world pressing on her. Some days were better than others, but she constantly battled her thoughts. One evening, after a long day at work, Angelina came home feeling completely drained. The phone buzzed again, lighting up with new notifications, but this time, she felt numb. Scrolling through her feed, she compared herself to others, not seeing any reasons to feel happy. Instead, tears formed in her eyes. That night, Angelina had an emotional breakdown. She cried loudly, feeling the walls around her closing in. The pressure to appear perfect was simply too much. Thoughts raced through her mind, telling her she was a failure. How could she be liked when she felt such pain inside? The noise of her thoughts grew louder as she struggled with feelings of worthlessness and sadness. It was a painful and humbling moment for her, one that brought her to her knees. The next morning, Angelina woke up feeling different. The sadness was still there, but she knew she had to change. Instead of reaching for her phone, she reached for a journal instead. With trembling hands, she scribbled thoughts about her feelings. Writing helped her see her thoughts, lightening her heavy heart. In her heart, Angelina realized she could not continue this way. She could not be the person everyone saw when she felt like breaking apart inside. This was the moment she wanted to change. Drawing a deep breath, she decided to seek help. Angelina had many friends and family who cared, but she had never opened up about her struggles. Today felt different. She summoned her courage and called her close friend Maya. Maya picked up right away, and Angelina felt a rush of relief. Sharing her feelings with someone else made the burden feel a little lighter. Maya listened patiently, offering support and love, reminding Angelina that she was not alone and that it was okay to ask for help. After their talk, Angelina felt a spark of hope grow within her. She began to explore ways to manage her stress and heal her emotional wounds. She turned to books about self-care and watched videos that promoted mindfulness. Angelina learned about small practices that could make a big difference, like taking long walks, breathing exercises, and setting limits on her social media. She promised herself to try these ideas, feeling eager to rebuild her emotional strength. The following week, Angelina took her first step towards healing. She set aside 1 hour each evening for herself, doing things that brought her joy. She painted, wrote, and practiced deep breathing while sitting near her window, listening to the birds singing. The quiet moments allowed her to think and feel without fear. Even though the journey was new and challenging, Angelina could feel a shift within her mind. With each passing day, Angelina faced the obstacles in her life with a growing sense of control. The rising tension in her life started to feel different. She was becoming more aware of her thoughts and feelings. With every effort, she saw a glimpse of the person she could become. Hope filled her heart as she continued to take small steps toward healing. The way forward felt uncertain, yet she was determined. As Angelina learned to embrace the world with a new mindset, she discovered that healing was not a straight path. However, she knew that upward was the only direction. As Angelina continued her journey toward healing, the emotions inside her felt raw and wild. Each day was a mix of hope and confusion. Though she tried to be positive, feelings of sadness and anxiety often returned like unwelcome guests. She found herself crying at odd times and feeling alone, even when surrounded by friends. There were moments when she did not want to leave her home, and other times she felt anxious about the world outside. The frustrations of everyday life seemed to grow larger, twists of doubt filling her mind. In these moments, Angelina often thought about the lessons she was learning. She pushed to believe she would heal. However, the doubts whispered that this was going to be too hard. Those whispers filled her with uncertainty. Scared and unsure about her next steps, Angelina knew she needed help again. The idea of therapy came to mind. At first, she felt nervous at the thought of sharing her struggles with someone new. But deep inside, she knew that this path could lead her to answers. After some days of thinking, Angelina made the call to a local therapist. With each ring of the phone, her heart raced. But when she heard the therapist's warm voice, a flicker of comfort filled her. They scheduled her first appointment for the following week. Leading up to that day, Angelina felt a swirl of emotions: hope, fear, and excitement. This was a big step for her, a jump into the unknown she was ready to make. The day of her appointment arrived, and Angelina felt butterflies in her stomach. Walking into the therapist's office, she noticed the soft colors, quiet chatter, and comfy chairs. It created a peaceful vibe. When the session began, Angelina found herself opening up about her life. She shared stories, fears, and experiences. It was strange to speak her feelings out loud, yet every word felt like a release. As she talked, the therapist listened deeply, validating her emotions and presenting new perspectives. After the first session, Angelina's mind was buzzing. She took notes on everything discussed. The therapist had introduced her to mindfulness techniques that could help manage stress. Angelina learned to focus on her breathing, relaxing her body in moments of panic. She also explored simple meditation. It felt odd at first, but slowly, she began to enjoy this quiet time for herself. These practices encouraged her to face uncomfortable truths about her mental health. As she explored her feelings, she came to understand just how much pressure she put on herself daily. Encouraged by her progress, Angelina decided to create a healthier routine. Each morning, she committed to starting her day with a few minutes of meditation. Instead of scrolling through her phone right away, she focused on breathing in and out, taking the day one moment at a time. This shift brought her peace. Angelina also started to read self-help books, exploring more about self-care and emotional healing. Each page offered insights that resonated with her life. They opened her eyes to the fact that healing required patience and compassion for herself. Things were not always easy, but with therapy, her new routine, and support from friends, Angelina began to feel like she was on the right path. The swelling tide of anxiety slowly eased as she practiced self-care techniques each day. She may have felt desperation before, but now there was determination. Angelina was learning that healing required time and that taking small steps brought big changes. Each day, even the tough ones, felt like progress. She realized that she was not alone on this journey. She had the strength to face whatever lay ahead. Angelina felt a spark of hope as she started to practice her new techniques for emotional management. However, she quickly realized that change was not easy. Some days she felt strong and ready to face the world. But other days, the shadows of anxiety crept back into her mind. She battled with doubts about whether she could truly change. Sometimes it felt like one step forward and two steps back. This journey was becoming more complex than she thought. One sunny morning, Angelina sat at her kitchen table with her new journal. She felt excited to start writing. She opened the clean page and began to pour her feelings onto the paper. At first, the words flowed easily. She wrote about her hopes and dreams, about her struggles with anxiety. But then her hand paused. She suddenly felt blocked as if the ink were a prison for her thoughts. Sadness flooded over her. What if this journaling was just another thing that wouldn't work? This thought weighed heavily on her heart, casting doubt on her ability to change. Determined to press on, she took a moment to breathe and focus. Angelina remembered what her therapist shared about mindfulness. It was crucial to stay present. Slowly, she took deep breaths, letting air fill her lungs. With each breath, the heaviness of doubt began to lighten. Angelina took the pen again and wrote, "I am trying my best." That sentence felt powerful. It reminded her that the path to change was not about perfection, it was about progress. Despite her doubts, she began writing again. That evening, Angelina tried another technique, mindfulness. She lit a candle and dimmed the lights in her living room, creating a warm space for herself. She remembered to focus on her breath, just like her therapist had shown her. Angelina closed her eyes and listened to the soft sounds around her. At first, her mind wandered to worries and to-do lists, but she gently reminded herself to return to the moment. After a few attempts, mindful breathing surprisingly eased her anxious heart. By the end of the session, she felt lighter. However, not every attempt went smoothly. Some mornings, she woke up feeling heavy with dread. On those days, the thought of journaling or meditating seemed impossible. Angelina felt frustration bubble up inside her. Why couldn't she just feel better? Thoughts of failure crowded her mind, and she feared that maybe she would never overcome her struggles. Despite that frustration, her growing emotional intelligence was becoming clear. When she felt down, she tried to acknowledge those feelings. Instead of hiding from them, she sat with her sadness. The process was tough, but Angelina learned that it was okay to have feelings. Recognizing each emotion welcomed her toward understanding herself. One Saturday, while sitting in the park, she watched kids playing and couples laughing. A wave of loneliness washed over her, and it hurt. Yet she held on to her journal and started to write again, capturing her feelings. Even when she struggled, Angelina embraced the fact that she was learning. She understood that emotional management was a journey, one filled with bumps and turns. Change was not a race. It was a path she needed to walk at her own pace. With each effort, Angelina created more space for growth. She faced her struggles and refused to give up on herself. Despite the difficulties, she felt directly connected to her fight against negative feelings. "Don't give up on learning," she told herself. This new chapter of her life was demanding but full of promise, pulling her forward with bright hopes and renewed strength. Angelina knew she must continue moving ahead towards a healthier future. As Angelina grew in her healing journey, she felt stronger. She embraced her new habits of journaling and mindfulness. Yet, deep inside, shadows of doubt lurked. She often smiled and laughed with friends, but anxiety still came to visit when she least expected it. One evening, she received a message that sent her mind spiraling back to her insecurities. A close friend, who she had not seen in a while, invited her to a big party. Angelina felt butterflies in her stomach, both excited and scared. As the party grew closer, old feelings began to return. Angelina spent hours thinking about what to wear and how to look. She was pulled back into the trap of wanting approval. What if they think I don't look good enough? She worried. What if I embarrass myself? Even with all her progress, she felt old habits creeping back into her mind. Angelina was mad at herself for feeling this way, for wishing to find acceptance in others again. The party became a mountain in her mind, and she knew she had to face it. The night of the party arrived, and the moment Angelina put on her dress, a wave of panic seized her heart. She looked in the mirror, and all she saw were her flaws. Confusion clouded her thoughts. It was as if all the hard work she had done vanished in seconds. She felt trapped between the desire to go and the instinct to hide. This internal battle shook Angelina to her core. Why am I still thinking like this? She asked herself, fighting to unearth the reasons behind her fear of judgment. During these moments of intense pressure, Angelina thought about the meaningful steps she had taken. She thought back to her therapeutic sessions and all the lessons she had learned. It became clear to her that to heal completely, she had to face her past wounds. Angelina remembered how she used to measure her worth based on likes and comments on social media. The chase for validation often made her feel small. She was constantly waiting in the shadows for someone to tell her she mattered. However, deep down, she knew she was more than just a number or a response from others. With her heart racing, Angelina took a deep breath, recalling the words of her therapist. "You are enough just as you are." Those words echoed in her mind, breaking through the noise of doubt. They reminded her that seeking validation from others would only trap her in the same cycle of unfulfilling emotions. She realized that she had to decide between feeding her fears or embracing the freedom that came from accepting herself. In that moment, Angelina made an essential choice. She decided to leave the mirror behind, knowing she had the power to break free from her old habits. Instead of caving into fear, she chose to step out of her comfort zone. With a determined heart, she slipped her phone into her bag and walked out the door. No matter what anyone said or thought, she would show up as herself. The journey would not end here, she knew. Angelina took a step into the unknown, feeling a mixture of fear and excitement. As she left the house, the moonlight illuminated her path, a sign that she was moving forward. She created a promise to cherish her healing journey, understanding that each step, even the hard ones, mattered. There was strength within her, newfound and vibrant. Angelina was ready to take control, ready to embrace who she was and who she wanted to become, no matter the pressures from the outside. It was time to commit to her true self. As Angelina arrived at the party, her heart raced with each step. She saw familiar faces, laughter, and bright lights. However, a wave of anxiety flooded over her. The worries she had battled before returned in full force. She wanted to fit in, to be liked and celebrated. As she entered the room, emotions swirled like a storm inside her. Old feelings of self-doubt crept in, whispering that she was not good enough. Angelina took a moment to calm herself, repeating her mantra from therapy. "I am enough just as I am." In one corner of the room, she spotted her colleague, Sarah. Sarah was chatting and laughing, but Angelina sensed that she wasn't feeling as joyful as she should. There was a certain tension in her posture. Angelina remembered moments when Sarah acted unimpressed or critical, especially about Angelina's work. These thoughts made Angelina anxious, but she knew she had to be brave. Instead of shutting down or avoiding Sarah, Angelina decided to take a different path. Angelina took a deep breath. She recalled what she learned about emotional intelligence and how important it was to practice self-regulation. "Stay calm and focused," she thought. As she approached Sarah, Angelina felt her heart pounding. But she was determined. "Hi, Sarah," she said softly, trying to sound confident. Sarah turned and smiled, yet Angelina could still see a hint of strain in her eyes. Angelina chose to show empathy. "Are you okay? You seem a bit stressed tonight," she asked gently. This simple question surprised Sarah. The words seemed to break the ice for both of them. Instead of casting blame, or allowing her insecurities to erupt, Angelina focused on understanding. She really listened as Sarah began to share. Sarah spoke about pressure at work and feeling overwhelmed. Hearing this made Angelina realize that they both faced their own challenges. During their conversation, Angelina recognized her own emotions rising. She felt sadness for Sarah, but also a pang of fear about their previous misunderstandings. Just as Angelina felt the storm building again inside her, she remembered her goal: to express her thoughts calmly and honestly. Taking a deep breath, she spoke with conviction. I know we have had some tough moments at work, but I really want to find a better way to work together. Can we be open with each other? Sarah looked surprised but softened. I want that too, she replied, a genuine smile breaking through her earlier tension. This was the moment when Angelina felt a shift inside her. By calmly expressing her feelings and being open, she could prevent her internal storm from rising. Instead of fighting against her emotions, she channeled them into connection. Angelina realized that emotional healing wasn't just about her. It was also about reaching out and building relationships. Gradually, as their conversation unfolded, the connection deepened. Angelina felt lighter as they both expressed their needs openly. They talked about the stress at work and shared ideas for support. In that moment, she could see a new path forming. By using empathy and self-regulation, Angelina managed to keep her emotions in check. This way, they could build a healthier atmosphere at work. Though doubt had loomed large, her actions illuminated a way forward. Angelina's heart swelled with hope. Facing her emotions head-on felt empowering. Even in the low points, she discovered the potential for growth and connections with others. The party continued around them, but in this moment, Angelina felt strong. She knew she was transforming and learning to manage her emotional landscape. With courage and kindness, she was beginning to truly heal, one conversation at a time. As Angelina continued her conversation with Sarah, something remarkable happened. The weight she had carried for so long began to lift. Sarah's openness gave Angelina hope and courage. Angelina realized that she was learning to handle these difficult moments far better than before. As they shared their feelings, Angelina felt a warmth spread through her. It was like blooming flowers awakening after a long winter. She could see how much strength there was in being honest and kind while discussing their struggles. When the party continued beyond their conversation, Angelina suddenly noticed Matt, a coworker known for his sharp words and critical nature. Matt was surrounded by a small group, joking and laughing. As she watched him, her heart skipped a beat. There were times in the past when his comments had cut deep, leaving her feeling exposed and vulnerable. Old feelings of anxiety bubbled up, but this time she chose to stay focused. Angelina remembered what she had learned about emotional intelligence, so she took a steady breath. Instead of avoiding Matt, Angelina decided to approach him. She knew she wanted to create a positive change in her work environment. With determination, she walked over and greeted him with a friendly smile. To her surprise, Matt seemed relaxed and friendly. They exchanged greetings, and in that moment, she felt more empowered than ever. Angelina met her fear head-on. Her heart no longer raced with anxiety. Instead, she felt calm strength flowing inside her. As they chatted, Matt casually made a comment about work that could have stung in the past. He said something dismissive about a project she had worked hard on. Instead of bursting into tears or shutting down as she once would have, Angelina raised her chin, took a moment to center herself, and replied with assertiveness. I put a lot of effort into that project, and I believe it can bring positive results. Perhaps I can share some ideas on how we can improve it even more. Her voice was steady and friendly. At that moment, Angelina felt a significant shift. She was not only aware of how her feelings impacted her but was also proud of how gently she stood up for herself. Instead of spiraling down in self-doubt, she communicated her thoughts clearly. Angelina realized that her emotional intelligence was not just a concept, it was a skill she could use to create better connections. The look of surprise on Matt's face was priceless. He paused, taken aback by her comment. Something changed in his expression. He seemed to reconsider what he said. This small moment marked a turning point for Angelina. She could see the potential for a different kind of communication, one filled with respect and understanding between them. Feeling lighter and more confident, Angelina smiled. She achieved a breakthrough in that moment, showing how much she had grown. Challenges that once felt like brick walls had transformed into stepping stones. Angelina embraced this feeling of strength, knowing she could handle difficult conversations. Surrounded by laughter and friends, she realized that the party had become a space for connection and healing. In recognizing her emotional growth, Angelina felt proud. Each challenge she faced became a chance to learn more about herself. The warmth of positive emotion surrounded her, proving that though the journey was ongoing, she had found her footing. With love for herself and hope for the future, Angelina celebrated her progress, knowing she could navigate whatever happened next. Following action. After the party, Angelina felt a spark of excitement within her. She had taken significant steps toward healing, and now it was time to put her knowledge into action. Each day, she was determined to care for her emotional well-being. She remembered all the techniques she had learned, and she felt inspired to try them out. The words from her therapist echoed in her mind. Change comes from small steps. In the following days, Angelina decided to commit to a morning routine. Each day, she would wake up a bit earlier to create time just for herself. As the sun rose, she would sit by her window, enjoying the soft light that filled her room. Angelina began practicing meditation for 5 minutes every morning. At first, it was challenging to quiet her busy mind. Thoughts about her day, her work, and conversations would pop up. But Angelina gently redirected her focus back to her breath. With practice, she felt more centered and at peace. Along with meditation, Angelina kept her journal close. She began writing every night about the moments that inspired her during the day. From the smallest achievement, like talking to Sarah, to enjoying a walk in the park, she filled those pages with gratitude. Writing helped her recognize her successes, no matter how small. With each entry, she felt her self-worth growing one word at a time. Angelina loved seeing how far she had come. Each week, Angelina also prioritized her therapy sessions. These meetings became like cozy safety nets for her emotions. During these times, she spoke about her fears, doubts, and victories. Each session helped her to build emotional tools that made handling life's ups and downs easier. Angelina learned to challenge negative thoughts and replace them with supportive ones. The growth was exciting, and with every session, she felt herself transforming. As she applied these techniques, Angelina noticed a change in how she approached social media. Instead of scrolling mindlessly, she became more intentional. Angelina started tuning into her feelings while using social platforms. If a post made her feel inadequate, she would take a step back and remind herself of her value outside of those images. Gradually, she began detoxing from social media. She limited her time online and followed accounts that uplifted her. Angelina found joy in connecting with positive sources instead of feeling weighed down by negativity. With these new habits in place, Angelina began building healthier boundaries in her life. She said no to invitations when her energy was low and focused on taking care of herself. Learning to value her emotions made her feel strong. It was not easy to set those boundaries initially, but each successful attempt gave her courage. Angelina enriched her life with kindness and patience, shining light on her feelings. These small victories empowered Angelina. Every morning felt more hopeful, and every evening brought a sense of peace. She felt like she was taking charge of her journey. Her transformation was real and visible. Angelina embraced the truth that healing was not a straight path. It held some ups and downs, which were part of the process. With hope in her heart, Angelina continued seeking growth. She knew she had the power to change her mindset and feelings. As she walked this path, she inspired herself to step boldly into the future. The fear that once consumed her diminished as she learned to listen to her heart instead. Angelina felt ready for whatever lay ahead, knowing that she was in control of her progress and her journey. As the weeks went by, Angelina continued to nurture her growth. She felt a deep desire to improve her mental well-being. Each day brought new challenges, but she faced them with a courageous heart. Because she practiced mindfulness regularly, she became more aware of her thoughts and feelings. Instead of letting anxiety take over, Angelina learned to recognize early signs of stress. When she felt uneasy, she paused to breathe deeply, reminding herself that she had the tools to handle whatever came her way. Angelina's therapy sessions became bright lights guiding her on this journey. Attending consistently allowed her to explore deeper emotions that she had kept hidden for too long. With the therapist's help, she unpacked feelings of doubt and fear. These sessions became a sacred time for reflection, where she learned to trust her thoughts and feelings more fully. She understood that it was okay to feel however she felt, and that those emotions did not define her worth. As Angelina solidified her boundary-building skills, she saw positive changes in her relationships. She was no longer afraid to express what she needed. If she felt overwhelmed or drained, she spoke up, explaining how she needed to recharge. Her friends began to notice this shift, and it deepened their bonds. Angelina felt a sense of belonging and respect that she hadn't experienced before. She no longer felt like she was walking on eggshells, constantly trying to please everyone. These moments of honesty helped her to maintain her emotional health and, in turn, strengthened her self-esteem. Her journaling routine transformed into a powerful habit. Each night, she reflected on her day, noting her feelings and thoughts about her experiences. Angelina began to celebrate small victories on the pages, writing about the times she felt brave or proud. Recalling moments when she had set healthy boundaries brought a smile to her face. Through this practice, she realized how far she had come. The act of writing down her successes helped her recognize her growth. Alongside all these practices, Angelina deliberately started detoxing from social media. Recognizing the effects of negative online interactions, she took breaks from platforms that drained her energy. Instead of checking her phone before bed, she picked up a book or enjoyed a quiet moment with a cup of tea. With time, the constant pull to seek validation online lessened. The need to measure her worth against the opinions of others began to fade. She reoriented her focus towards real-life interactions that brought her joy and connections that felt genuine. As a result of these incremental successes, Angelina noticed significant improvements in her self-esteem. Her anxiety levels decreased, allowing her to enjoy moments without feeling constantly on edge. Angelina began to trust herself more fully. She felt secure in her decisions, knowing that she held the power to advocate for her needs and well-being. Every lesson she learned built a strong foundation for emotional stability, encouraging hope for the future. Every day, Angelina reminded herself that the journey of healing requires patience. The hard work she put into developing her emotional intelligence made her feel proud. Each milestone was not just a step toward better health, they were pieces of her growing sense of self. As she continued to practice her techniques, Angelina knew she was creating the life she wanted. With every passing moment, she moved closer to a life where anxiety did not rule her thoughts. Instead, she embraced a way of living filled with happiness, self-acceptance, and peace. She was no longer waiting for someone else to validate her. She was becoming her own biggest supporter. Angelina faced the world with a newfound confidence, and she felt ready to take on whatever challenges lay ahead. As time passed, Angelina embraced the changes she had made in her life. She felt a great sense of peace within herself. The chaos that once ruled her thoughts began to settle, replaced by a quiet strength. Angelina knew she had reached a new equilibrium, one where she felt healthier and more authentic. Each day, she greeted herself with kindness and love. The negative voices that once consumed her began to fade. With her newfound understanding of psychological wellness, Angelina learned to prioritize her mental health. She accepted that it was an ongoing journey. It was not about reaching a destination but about enjoying the steps along the way. Angelina developed a balance of practicing mindfulness and journaling. Her therapy sessions remained essential, guiding her through life's ups and downs. The support she received from her therapist empowered her to reinforce the strategies she had learned. Angelina also discovered the importance of celebrating her progress. When she thought of the struggles she faced, she felt a surge of pride. She had transformed a challenging situation into an opportunity for growth. Mental wellness became important to her, teaching her that self-love was more than a phrase, it was a way of living. Angelina found joy in the balance between work, friendships, and self-care. She understood that each part was necessary. With this shift in her perspective, Angelina longed to share her journey with others. She started writing blog posts about her experiences, focusing on the lessons she had learned. Her words bubbled with positivity and encouragement. Angelina hoped to show others that they, too, could find their healing and happiness. By being honest about her journey, she found even deeper connection and purpose. This act of sharing became a meaningful part of her life. Angelina continued to build stronger relationships with her friends. They noticed the change in her, and the conversations felt more authentic now. Sharing laughter, support, and vulnerability brought them closer together. They engaged in open discussions about mental health, creating a space that felt safe and nurturing. Acknowledging that she was not alone in her journey brought Angelina deeper understanding. She learned that everyone faces challenges in their own ways. With compassion for herself and others, she realized that it is okay to struggle. This realization removed feelings of shame and replaced them with empathy. As Angelina empowered herself with self-acceptance, she began empowering those around her, too. Though life still came with its ups and downs, Angelina felt stronger machinery to navigate these challenges. Life felt healthier and lighter. In moments of fear or doubt, she gently reminded herself of the progress she had made. With each breath, she committed to focusing on internal validation, recognizing that her worth didn't rely on others' opinions. As the sun set over her town, casting golden light through her window, Angelina smiled. She felt grateful for the journey that brought her to this place of peace and acceptance. Angelina understood that there would be tough days ahead, but she also believed in her strength. She had developed skills to help her face life with resilience and grace. Stepping forward, Angelina was ready to embrace her life fully. She stepped into tomorrow with hope in her heart, a clear vision for herself, and the belief that she was enough just as she was. As Angelina continued her journey, she felt empowered by her transformation. She learned to make confident decisions that aligned with her values and goals. Instead of seeking approval from others, Angelina tuned into her inner voice. This shift allowed her to prioritize what truly mattered in her life. For instance, when deciding to take on a new project at work, she asked herself if it felt right for her. If it did not align with her energy or happiness, she asked for help or chose to say no. Her relationships also flourished as she embraced healthier communication. Angelina felt more connected with her friends and family. They noticed how she openly expressed her feelings and set healthy boundaries. When issues arose, Angelina practiced active listening and responded with empathy. By fostering an environment of trust, her relationships deepened, marking a new chapter of support and understanding. Friends often came to her for advice, knowing she now offered wisdom rooted in experience and kindness. Angelina recognized the importance of maintaining a balanced lifestyle. She scheduled regular self-care time, whether it was going for walks outside, reading her favorite books, or experimenting with new recipes in the kitchen. These moments enriched her life, helping her to maintain inner peace. Angelina realized that balance meant not only caring for her mind but also her body. She practiced yoga, which built her strength and flexibility, both physically and mentally. Each pose was a reminder to ground herself, to breathe deeply, and to appreciate what her body could do. Although mental wellness required more continuous effort, Angelina no longer felt overwhelmed. She recognized that growth is a lifelong journey, requiring self-awareness and dedication. Instead of fearing difficult moments, she welcomed them as opportunities to practice her emotional tools. The skills she learned in therapy became valuable assets. When anxiety kicked in, she turned to deep breathing exercises to calm herself. Remembering the positive affirmations she wrote in her journal reassured her that she could handle anything that came her way. Angelina continued to document her journey through journaling. Writing down her thoughts allowed her to track her feelings, celebrate her achievements, and identify areas for improvement. Each week, she would review what she had learned, easily picking out trends or challenges. By reflecting on her progress in this way, she stayed focused on her growth. In many ways, Angelina had not only transformed herself, she inspired others to take actionable steps toward their own wellness. She often shared her journey with her friends, encouraging them to explore emotional intelligence together. They laughed, cried, and learned as a community, growing stronger together. By promoting open discussions about mental health, Angelina fostered an atmosphere where everyone felt safe expressing themselves. Angelina's colorful experiences created a tapestry of resilience within her. She understood that life would present its challenges, but she felt equipped with the tools to face them head on. Each uncertain moment was now an invitation for growth. Angelina embraced herself fully, leading her life with renewed strength, compassion, and self-assurance. As she stepped into each new day, she held the understanding that true happiness came from within. The light she felt inside shone brightly, guiding her through anything life threw her way. Angelina was prepared to face the future, fully aware that she possessed everything she needed to create the wonderful life she had always dreamed of. With a heart full of hope, she celebrated the journey and the adventures still ahead.